There's always the debate over whether or not a trans girl will get her period. Many of us do experience the same symptoms as a cis woman on her period. So then in this episode of Stacy Links Presents, I'm going to talk about the symptoms and causes of trans period. Stick around, I'll be right back. So welcome to my channel. I'm Stacy, and in this episode of Stacy Links Presents, I'm going to talk about the trans period. And I know there's a lot of debate out there whether or not our symptoms are actually related, but many trans people do experience PMS symptoms once a month for between 5 and 7 days. So there is correlation between a cis woman and a trans woman as to why we experience a lot of these symptoms. So in this episode, I will go through the types of symptoms we experience. I will talk about possible causes of those symptoms in relation to how it works with a cisgender woman. Then I'm going to talk about remedies that you can try to alleviate these symptoms. So before I get started, what I'll get you to do, if you're new to this channel, if you're a transgender person interested in fashion, makeup, and jewelry, make sure you go down below in this video and hit that subscribe button. And be sure to click the little bell beside there to be notified 30 minutes before each vlog premiere and anytime I upload other content. I have many videos and playlists on my channel with my makeup routines, my product reviews, fashion and jewelry tips you'll love to see. Plus, I'm doing advocacy for the LGBTQIA+ community and documenting my transition as a single parent. Also, be sure you're following me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on TikTok. Be sure to check the description of this video below for all my social media links. So the first thing I want to talk about is symptoms that we get that correspond with PMS symptoms in a cisgender woman. One of the biggest symptoms that many of us experience is cramping. Now, even though a trans person doesn't have the parts to bleed, we still get cramping down there, and it's largely because of gas. So that's the other problem that many of us have is gas pain, bloating, and irregular bowels is one symptom that cis women will also experience. Some other experiences that we have while on our period is irritability, mood swings, possible moodiness and crying going along with all that. Sometimes we can be easily triggered during that time. And now I remember saying that we don't necessarily have parts to bleed like a cis woman. However, there are some of us that I've heard of, myself included, who are switches or bottoms, who during that time do have some blood coming out their back, the back end, the bum hole. So that is definitely one clear sign, because it doesn't happen for me when I'm not on my period, only when I am. And I've noticed that mine can last anywhere between 5 and 7 days, depending on my moods to begin with, depending on my stress level. And that's another thing, is it can cause depression and extra stress too. So to go into talk about some things that happen in a cisgender woman during her menstrual cycle that are likely to correspond with us. One thing that happens right before a cis woman begins to menstruate is her testosterone will spike. And what that causes is it causes a spike in an enzyme called aromatase. And that enzyme, it has the ability to convert testosterone into estradiol. So what happens is that increase in testosterone gets aromatized, eventually becoming estradiol. So you have a testosterone spike, and then an aromatase spike, and then a sudden drop in testosterone. So it's these major fluctuations in testosterone levels that are believed to cause PMS symptoms. especially if the swings are high enough, or if the person is sensitive to testosterone. And now, when a trans person, trans feminine person particularly, goes on HRT, this testosterone fluctuation affects us a lot more because now our testosterone levels are lower and our estrogen levels are much higher. Not every trans person experiences these, like not every cis person does. And not everyone experiences all of the same symptoms. There are other symptoms that some may experience. It's believed that it's largely driven by hormone changes, particularly the rise and fall in testosterone. So last and certainly not least, I've said I was going to talk about certain remedies that you can try to help alleviate certain symptoms. Now, with regards to the pain, cis women can generally take a product called naproxen. And what naproxen is, it's a type of anti-inflammatory generally prescribed for people with arthritis. And it can also be used to alleviate any sort of bloating and pressure on your midsection down below. However, for trans people, you have to be wary. Naproxen does have drug interactions with many other drugs, including the one common drug prescribed to trans people, spironolactone. Anybody who's taking spironolactone can't take naproxen because it'll cause the spiro to lose effectiveness, thus jumping your testosterone, making the symptoms worse. In a situation like this, one suggestion that I have for any sort of painkiller is to take Advil-Tylenol combination. You take one of each every 6 to 8 hours, and it basically counts as taking 2 of one or the other. And this will help. The Advil is the anti-inflammatory, and then Tylenol will directly numb the pain receptors. So it helps for a number of other issues with pain, muscular pain, joint and tooth pain, or even stuff like that. And then often for the gas, we generally have to take some sort of anti-gas pill, like an oval pill or Gas X or something like that. And it will help. I've done it before, and I've been meaning to do it for each subsequent period because I do get gassy, and it does sometimes last past the period point to where I'm still gassy days later trying to expel the extra gas in my system. So taking gas pills is definitely a benefit to reduce the gas production in your body. So thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below and drop me a comment. Tell me about your experiences with PMS. If you have any remedies that I didn't mention them down below. If you have any questions, drop your question and I'll answer it as soon as I can. And be sure to stay tuned for my next episode. I'll see you then. Bye!